Hey Crafty Peeps! Today's video is all about pumpkins and texture. I'm going to show you how to make over some pumpkin signs as well as some foam pumpkins from Dollar Tree and just adding texture and just really stepping those projects up a notch. So I hope you enjoy. And if you do, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell so you are notified whenever I upload new videos. And I cannot wait to share Halloween crafts that will be coming out real soon. For this first project, I'm taking 2 of these pumpkins from Dollar Tree. I picked up this little pumpkin from 99-cent store. Some sweater fabric I have left over, and some of this cork from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to go ahead and take these apart, these 2 pumpkins from Dollar Tree. Now the little one I got from 99-cent store, you can use one of the little Dollar Tree ornaments if you want, or one of their little smaller pumpkins. And then for the sweater, if you saw my last video where I made a sweater pumpkin wreath, this is left over from that. It was part of the sleeve. So gotta save it and use every part that I can. So I'm just going to show you all the different textures that you can do to make over your pumpkins. And I love mixing patterns and textures. I like metal and burlap, and so that's what you're going to see today. Okay, for this first pumpkin, I'm just going to pull the sleeve of this sweater over the pumpkin, and then I will just glue it down. This pumpkin, I'm using this chicken wire. You can see it's $3.99 at Hobby Lobby. Of course, I got it half off and only paid $2. I have had this in my stash for a year and I have not used it yet. And now that I've used it, I'm excited to use it on more projects. So I'm just going to cut a couple strips off and wrap it around this pumpkin. I'm covering this little pumpkin in this adhesive corkboard. I love, love, love this. I love this texture, and I think it works so good for fall. So I'm just going to stick it down on there and cut it out and add that to this little pumpkin. I'm going to take my pumpkins now and assemble them all together. I felt I needed one more pumpkin, so I'm taking one of these mini pumpkins. You get them in threes, and I'm just going to cut it in half and add it to my project. Now for my favorite part, which is adding ribbon. I love embellishing. This little, this fabric here, this plaid, was from Hobby Lobby, and I did get it last year, I do believe. And I believe that little pumpkin one you see up in the corner is also from Hobby Lobby. I buy my ribbons on clearance typically right after the holiday has passed. So it's like a fun treasure the next year on that holiday to see, oh yeah, I bought all these ribbons. So I have a lot of ribbon, and I get it for very inexpensive. So make sure you check out those clearance sales for the next year. You'll also notice in this video, and with a lot of my fall videos, is that I am keeping it pretty neutral. I like to do creams and browns and that burnt orange color, and then sometimes some of the light, like vintage looking turquoise color. And so that is the color scheme that I use. For this project, I'm taking one of these orange pumpkins and I painted it white with my Rust-Oleum white chalk paint. And then I'm using one of these no slip mats that you put underneath your rug. And I picked this up just for the fact that I love the texture of it. And so I'm going to be covering this pumpkin with this mat. And that's why I had to paint it white. Now you actually could leave it orange, and that would make a really cool look too. So what I do is I just start with a little bit of glue, and then I'm just going to fold it around. Because of this texture, didn't want a ton of pleats, and so I'm very careful with kind of how I wrap it around the pumpkin. I'll grab one of these little stems from the Dollar Tree. Don't worry if you haven't found them because they're free in your yard. So I just add that down. And then I grabbed one of these burlap leaves from a pack from the Dollar Tree. And they're typically too big for my projects. They're large. So I cut them down quite regularly. Sometimes I'll cut them down in the same shape they come in. And then sometimes I'll do this shape, which is just, you know, your regular leaf shape. And I'm going to take the wire part and wrap it around to make that little squiggle. So what would you call that? But that's one of my favorite parts of the pumpkin is the little spiral that comes out. And I decide that I really like that spiral and I want another one. So I just rip off another piece of wire off another leaf and add that other squiggle. I picked up this necklace from Hobby Lobby spring clearance. I got it for, I believe, $1, and I liked it because it had these neutral colored beads. And so I'll just kind of cut this down, and I'll tie a knot on each end of where I cut it, and I'm just going to loop it around my pumpkin to give it a little extra. So I have a bunch of just plain pumpkins like this. I picked this one up, I do believe, at the Target dollar spot. And then I've got these ribbons from Dollar Tree. And this felt garland, I do believe I got at the 99-cent store. I knew that I would probably just tear it apart. Some burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree. And then I just printed out on my computer a couple different sayings in the skinny font. Autumn wishes, pumpkin kisses, what did I put? Happy fall. And that way I can just make a bunch of tags for my pumpkins. Just spruce them up so they're not so plain. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this first one out that says autumn wishes, and I will cut it into a tag shape. I'm going to attach this tag onto a piece of this burlap ribbon just to give it kind of a frame. So a lot of times with these pattern ribbons, they kind of only look good going one way. And so that was kind of the case with this one, or it's one-sided. So sometimes I just like to mix them up, and I'll just make tails out of the pattern one, and I'll tie a bow with the other one. And so that's what I did with this one. And now it's just a matter of gluing everything down, and that gave this plain pumpkin a super cute makeover. Now I'm going to give this pumpkin a makeover with this fun, fluffy brown fabric. I don't even know why I have this fabric in my stash, but it was there, and I thought, ooh, that's going to make a luxurious little pumpkin makeover. And then I just wanted to give it kind of an over-the-top bow and show you a different way to make over another pumpkin. All right, here's a tip. So when you use your little spongy paintbrushes, don't throw away the stick that it's on. They pop off really easy. And then you have all these little sticks you can use for different projects, and in this case, it makes a great stem. So I'm just wrapping some of the burlap ribbon around it, and voila, I have a stem. And so now I'm just going to take some of these ribbons, and like I said, I'm going to make kind of more of an over-the-top bow. So these two ribbons, the thicker ones, the striped one here and the one with the pumpkins, I got these on clearance last year from Walmart for 23 cents. Can you believe that? Oh my goodness, if they had had more, I would have bought more. But 23 cents, I'm so excited. So yeah, super cute. So I'm just going to add these ribbons, and I do say before you tie them all together, do the dovetail first. I did it the hard way. So learn from me, dovetail them first, and then tie them together. Okay, now for this little cutie pie makeover. These are those little mini pumpkins. I used one in the first project, and these are so cute to make over with just some ribbon. And you know how you see those fillers that you can put in a basket? You could make some of these, paint some, leave some plain, put some ribbon around some, and put them in one of those bowls as a filler. Oh my gosh, it would be so cute. So I just want to show you how you can make over just a cute little pumpkin in just a matter of minutes. For this pumpkin makeover, I've got one of these signs from Dollar Tree, some more of that fur fabric, and some more of the sweater fabric. And if I didn't make it clear in the very beginning project with the sweater, I had bought a sweater at the thrift store, and I covered one of the pumpkin wreath forms, and I have the sleeves left, and I actually made another project last winter with it. So that sweater has gone a long way. Also, as you can see, I popped off the 3D pieces. They did not pop off as easily as I thought they would, so be careful if that's a way you choose to do it, because I struggled a little bit, but they were intact. So now I'm just going to glue my fur fabric on, and then I will cut around the pumpkin. Now I'll glue the sweater pieces onto the 3D parts of the pumpkin, and I'm just going to use a glue stick. I don't want any glue to show through since there is holes in the sweater, and so this worked just fine. Okay, and now I'm just going to attach those 3D pieces back down onto the fur part of the pumpkin. And before I do that, I'm just going to take some of this burlap ribbon again and wrap it around the stem and glue it. And of course, what pumpkin isn't complete without a bow? And so again, you're seeing the same ribbon. I just love this ribbon. And I'm going to just add a big bow onto it. And this little pumpkin is done. You could add a saying across it if you wanted, or add another one of those little tags that I showed in one of the previous projects. But I just love how this turned out. So many textures. That's just, oh, I love all the textures. What do you think? For this last project, I wanted to kind of get back to my roots, which is scrapbooking and paper crafting. I have an entire craft shed full of scrapbook supplies, so that means stickers and buttons and brads and you name it, I probably have it. And so I really wanted just to fully make over one of these pumpkin signs with as many textures and things as I could. And so I start that here by using some of this Dollar Tree contact paper. And I'm going to use it actually on both sides, so it'll be a finished project. And this was all inspired by Linda over at Faith Chick 777. I will link her down below. Oh, I love her paper crafting, how she adds it into her crafting. So inspiring, and that is why I wanted to make this project. So it's a little bit more advanced, and it's not necessarily things you can just go out and buy all these little tiny things, but if you're a craft hoarder like myself, go into your stash, find a bunch of little fun things, and just start adding them to your project. As I said that, it reminded me, you can use things like bottle caps and bread ties and, pieces of straw. Like, just think outside the box. Think of things that have texture that you could add to a project. So I have this piece of scrapbook paper that kind of looks like leather, and I traced out the pumpkin, but I don't want this piece of paper to be as big, so I don't want to cover the spot where I had the contact paper. But I also want to give this a different look. So what I've done is I've drawn a little bit smaller of a pumpkin on the back, and then I'm taking my paintbrush and water, and I'm watering along that line, and it just makes it so that you can tear the paper really easy. And again, that just adds another element of texture, having it be torn. For the next element of texture, I'm using that same rug anti-slip mat. And I'm going to do the same thing here where I cut it down smaller than this brown piece of scrapbook paper. So now I just kind of start laying stuff down. I start playing around with the different things I have pulled out from my stash. I won't be using everything, but I'll start using some of the things. For the little slip mat, I just glue it down in the middle there because I know I'm going to be putting something over that area, so it's not going to matter if the glue shows through. And then I'll just yeah, like I said, I'm just going to keep kind of pushing things down. I'm going to add a little bit of this glue because it does dry clear, and so that will work. And this is another piece of scrapbook paper that kind of looks like linen. This Grateful Wood piece there I got from Hobby Lobby, I do believe, but I know Michaels and Joann's carry them too. So, and then I'm going to take my little ink pad here in Java which is a brown color, and I'm just going to ink the edges of my paper here and just add a little bit of distressing around. So I know I'm moving rather quickly through this project, but I'm really just trying to give you a visualization of the different textures that I use and how I just start layering different items. So as you see, I'm putting a little bit burlap on the stem, and then I'm going to use that big old leaf again. I love those leaves, and I'm going to cut it down, and I'm actually going to make 3 leaves out of this. Okay, now I'm just going to start playing around with some of my ribbon here from Dollar Tree, as well as some of the burlap from Dollar Tree. I got this little, who knows where this little tag is from, in my stash, and this other little tag too. But I do know you can buy these little, I don't know how you say it, ephemera, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to say that word, but little pieces at the scrapbook section. I had this little leather frame, this little tiny frame. I guess you could put it around somebody's face in a picture. Grab some of these little leaf buttons, and then I'm just going to start layering everything down. I'm gonna just take my paintbrush and dip it into the ink pad and then just kind of go around this grateful just to give it a little bit more of an aged look and to make it pop off the paper a little bit more. Isn't it funny how my little ink pad's just kind of jumping around when I have it in fast motion like that? And then I'm just gonna add a few more little embellishments. Then I'm gonna take one of the little chipboard pumpkins from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cover it in the ink from the chalk pad. And then I'll use one of those little white rub-ons, and then I will add that to my project. So if you've stuck with me this far, thank you for watching all the different ways that I made over pumpkins with texture. If you liked this last project, let me know if you'd like to see more like this. They're kind of fun to do once in a while, just to kind of just do an over-the-top, what kind of stuff is in your stash, and see what you can do with it. But anyhow, I had so much fun doing this video because it was just fun to kind of look at things and see what could I cover a pumpkin with. So if you've thought of some cool textures, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear them because I am always looking for fun new textures to use in my projects. Alright, thanks again for watching this video. I will be starting those Halloween DIYs coming real soon. So let's get to those spooky crafts. Have a good one.